Hi everyone, this is Dakota McLean. Here's your tip of the week. So by the title of the video, we're going to be talking about how to hit a bump and run. So bump and run is something that a lot of the younger generation, I would say nowadays, don't really use. But I tell you what, a lot of the older generation that have been playing golf for a little while, they know exactly what I'm talking about. So the bump and run is a method to where, let's just say you have a 30-foot, you're like 30 feet away from the pin, but you have a lot of green to work with. So in a bump and run, you're trying to play it out like it's a putt, but you're trying to get it over the collar of the green so that way it can just get onto the green and roll out like a regular putt. A lot of the kids nowadays, they're using like a 60-degree or a sand wedge, and they're trying to hit it super high and land it close to the pin. A lot of times that's not going to work. Sometimes you have a lot of slope going into the green, and we need to try and figure out how we're going to get it onto the green so that way we can go with the slope of the green. So I'm going to show you a couple ways that we can do that. So we're going to jump right into it. So like I said before, we're going to be learning about the bump and run. So right now what I have is I have two different kinds of wedges. So I have a pitching wedge, and then I also have a 48 degree, which is just one up above a pitching wedge. You want something that's going to be a little bit lower lofted rather than a 58 or a 56 or anything like that. And if those ones are the ones that you have in your bag, I would probably resort to a pitching wedge because a lot of people have a pitching wedge in their bag. So we're going to start out with a 58, or I'm sorry, a pitching wedge. So when I'm hitting a bump and run, you want to have a couple things in mind when you're doing this. So setting up is the most important part to it. So when I'm setting up, I'm not trying to put the ball super up in my stance because that's when you would catch it on the upswing, and it's actually going to fly a little bit further. You're going to be playing it back in your stance. Your hands are going to be pressed forward. So pressing your hands forward actually de-lofts the club a little bit, which allows it to jump onto the green a little bit lower rather than a little bit higher. And your hands are going to be pressed forward the entire time. So it should look something like this, and you don't see a lot of my lower body movement doing anything. So I'm just trying to keep my hands forward, and you hear that brushing the grass. That's what we're trying to look for. So when I'm doing this, you got to just practice this a lot so that way you can really get the hang of it. So playing it back in my stance, my weight's on my left leg, my hands are forward, I'm just trying to hit down into the ball. So you'll see that when I do it behind the video, or like when I put the video behind me, you'll see that I'm able to hit down into the ball and it's going to come out a little bit lower. And I'm not taking a very long practice swing or a big swing at the ball, just because it is going to jump off the face pretty hard. So I'll do it one more time for you so that way you can see. So my weight is forward, hands are forward. I'm just using a little bit of a rotation of my body, just so that way I can keep it low, so that way it lands on the green and rolls out a little bit more. Now if you have something that's a little bit higher lofted, it is going to spin a little bit more, which means that it is going to stop, and we don't want that. When it comes to a bump and run, we want to be able to have it roll out.
So as you can see, I have it down the line so that way you're able to see what it looks like when it lands on the green. So I'm hitting a couple of shots right now just so that way I can get the feel of what it looks like to be getting onto the green, how much it's going to roll out. This is a good way for you to really know how fast the greens are, especially when you're out there putting and everything. You're able to see how far it's going to jump off the face and then how long it's going to roll out. This is really good, good practice to use.
So like I said, when it comes to hitting a bump and run, there's a couple ways that you need to do it. So you want to make sure that you have your weight on your left leg, having your hands forward, and not a lot of rotation in your lower body, but don't be restricted to it, and just using your arms. So it's kind of like a putt because you're not taking a huge backswing, but your goal is try to get it over that collar so it lands on the green and lets it roll out. So if you have any questions, please let me know. I'll be around, and so that way we are able to help you out. Call one of the golf shop and then talk to one of the golf professional staff, and we'll be able to help you out with everything. So thank you everybody for stopping by, checking out our tip of the week, and I'll see everyone next week.